We're going to talk about Reddit today. So let's begin with my understanding of Western civilization and Western history. I have divided it into three eras for my understanding. The first era, from the beginning till about the 15th century, was pre-modernism. After that came modernism and then post-modernism. So let me briefly, I hope, explain. In pre-modernism, the mantra of the people was, I believe, therefore I understand. And this is because Western civilization was dominated by the Catholic Church. And the church held as their weapon all rights and privileges associated with reading the Bible. And that's very important. So it was their interpretation that they handed out to the people that became, the governing aspects of life in the West. And I mean, they dominated culture. And it wasn't until the printing press came along that they began to have problems because the first book that Gutenberg printed was the Bible. This infuriated the church. And then when John Wycliffe's Common English translation of the Bible came along, the church realized that their power was dissipating. They tried everything to stop people from printing the Bible, and it just didn't work. So they lost their dominance in the culture. And at the end of the pre-modern era, there's a great quote from a priest who said, "The jewel of the elites is now in the hands of the laity. Oh my God, they lost their power." So what took its place after the printing press was modernism. And modernism, the mantra was, I think and reason, therefore I understand. And this went on to create all of the wonders that we have today in our world, because humans are capable of doing just about anything if they set their minds to it. And so, uh, this is what created what I refer to as the management culture, where everything was ruled from the top down to the people. It was the same thing as the church, but in a different way. So uh, that led to the creation of the personal computer in the counterculture of the 60s, and eventually the creation of the internet. And this event has changed our culture from modernism to postmodernism. And the mantra of today is, I participate, therefore I understand. So you can see how Reddit fits into postmodernism, because Reddit is a horizontal media outlet. And, everybody is the same, with the exception, of course, of the moderators. But it's been amazing because in my judgment, it's the first, aside from the discussion boards, it's the first technological advancement that is really changing our world. Because if people can talk to people, why do they need the top down anymore? And because the people are able to run everything themselves. Now, don't laugh at me when I say that, because uh, while most people today would think of that as chaos, I'm telling you, technology is going to resolve that for us on behalf of the people. And I think Reddit has played a huge role in that. For example, my background is the news business, and I used to tell people that news is a process, not a finished product. And, for the people, news happens all the time. On Reddit, if you hear in Huntsville, Alabama, where I live, we have the Army's Redstone Arsenal here, and It's a big deal, and they do tests on the firing ranges and testing of rocket engines and all kinds of things that take place here in Huntsville. And it's known commonly here that if you hear an explosion, it's going to be Redstone Arsenal. So people in the Huntsville subreddit of Reddit will say, "Did anybody else hear that?" And people will immediately start replying. And so news, the essence of news as a process, can be found along this horizontal plane that we know in the postmodern era. And for that, I give Reddit great credit for helping advance this entire thing. And so that's why I really love Reddit, but I absolutely hate what it has become. And I hate it with the perfect hatred. Reddit, what's wrong with you? I'll tell you what's wrong. Reddit has sold out. It has sold out to the management culture. Why? It's always about money. This is so the founders of Reddit can cash out and live comfortably for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, they've turned the site over to, typical media managers, and that is top down. And the wish of all media companies, people, and please understand this, is to create a sterile environment within which you can sell advertising. And that is going to ruin Reddit. It already has. The moderators, those blessed moderators, they are in a quandary because now they have to start policing for radical thinking. And they have these auto bots. And hear me very carefully here. These things sniff out words, keywords that have been pre-selected, to temporarily at least stop the post from being published, and two, alerting the moderators to a potential problem. Sounds perfectly rational and perfectly logical, right? Well, but it isn't, because human beings are biased, and especially top-down media companies. They need to rid themselves, if they're going to be successful, they need to rid themselves of controversy, and that is intolerable to me. So what started as something wonderful, this horizontal connectivity, has now been sold out in the name of money. And so we, the people, have lost. And I don't think that this is going to stop the revolution of participation by people in the culture, but it's not a really beneficial thing to all of us, because we're going to lose what we had with the old Reddit. So whoop-de-doo for your IPO, which you got which you started on Friday. The stock price has doubled. Whoop-de-doo! Everybody rejoice. No. This is just the old modernism working its top-down magic to the detriment of the people that they allege to serve. And I'm not a happy man over that. So, this kind of stuff really gets to me. But who am I? I'm just a commoner. I'm just a commentary, and I could very easily be wrong.